But he that giveth his mind to the Lord the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient, and be occupied in prophecies. I'd like to start off by saying, Call Haloyim La, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles of GMS. Shalom to the elect. I'm gonna get into the I'm just going to Book of Sirach 39. The Lord's will be edifying. It says, but this is verse 1. It says, but he that giveth his mind to the Lord the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out all the wisdom of the ancient, and be occupied in prophecies. Right, so the first precept I want to get is, well, in no particular, I'll just kind of go with the spirit. Let me get go to Psalms. Let's see what Psalms got for us. I would rather go into the blue letter. Maybe I will. Let's see how it works. It's like here, driving. Psalms chapter 1. And verse 2. Well, let me start at verse 1. It says, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. Right, so, if you ain't walking, if you ain't, because the scripture say don't be equally yoked, with unbelievers and things of that nature. So if you're not, so it says, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. So if you're dealing with men that are, godly, they're trying to please the Lord, then you blessed. It says, nor standeth in the way of sinners. We ain't really congregating with sinners too much in terms of being buddy. Now, we all were sinners. So, if you got a loved one or something like that you're trying to, you got love for, you try to tell them, you try to correct them and things of that nature, then so be it. But you ain't just going to be just dealing with sinners just on some we chilling type shit, if that makes sense. It says, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But this is the point. It says, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doeth he meditate day and night. Right, so like we just read before, you'll be meditated in prophecies, and your mind will be on the law of the Lord, because through the law it was given to us for a reason, man. Let me go back to the Book of Sirach. Book of Sirach 39. I'm driving, bear with me. Right, so it says, but he that giveth his mind to the Lord the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient. Right, the ancient meaning, those men that came before us, man. For example, King Solomon. He was the wisest of them all, right? So you will be seeking out those ways as well. Not you'll be seeking out his the things that were written about him, because the Lord gave him the most wisdom out of everybody. He says, and be occupied in prophecies, right? And prophecies are basically the things that are to come. So this is what your mind is literally going to be on. You're not going to be caught up in not so much going to be caught up in the world and sports and women. You know what I'm saying? Just more so, you'll be caught. This will be your love, man. This will be what you'll give. This will be your life's work, so to speak, man. Let me get another precept. I want to get Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 16. It says, thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. Right, the old ways, it says, ask for the old paths, because in this world right now, right, the ways of the Lord aren't basically, it's not put on a pedestal, it's not upheld. You know, in this world, it had to do as thy will spirit. It has the, you know, the Christian doctrine, which says what? That, yo, the law is done away with. You know, oh yeah, through Jesus, we all saved, everybody. You know, man, woman, transsexual, everybody. You know, heathen. You know, we all saved. That's the way of the world. You know, you don't gotta keep the laws, bro. Why wouldn't you eat pork, bro? That was, if you know, and I hate to bring, like, you know, but for the sake of the video, you know, I've seen a meme, not a meme, it was like a caption that just, a girl put, and it said, if you're not sinning, then Jesus died for nothing, which we know his name is Yahweh Shah, but ultimately, that's the way, that right there in a nutshell is the way of the world, right? That's not the old path, so to speak, that we just read, you know? That's not how the people did it before, you know? So it says, thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see and ask for the old path. So when you praying, you ask the Lord to guide you, you know what I'm saying? You know, and you ask the Lord for understanding. When you're going into these scriptures and you're reading certain things, right? You ask the Lord to bless you with that understanding on it, so now you can find the old ways, the ways which please him. You know, when our people actually knew the Lord, and they knew what we were supposed to do, you know, before it was taken away from us. And there's no excuse because we know it now, but, you know what I mean? It was just even more so back then, you know? Let me keep reading. It says, where is the good way? And walk therein, right? The good way, perfect, which is the law. It goes back to the law, man. You know? It goes back to the law. That's perfect, because the law is perfect. The law is perfect. We aren't, but the law is perfect. You know, let me get another precept. Deuteronomy. I'm going to Deuteronomy. You know what? For the sake of this, I'm gonna go into the blue letter, because instead of me going back and forth, and I'm able to navigate that screen a little bit better. So this is Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy, I'm gonna go 32 and 7, and it reads, yep, it says remember the old, it's like it says, remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations, ask thy father, and he shall show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee. Right, but you know, again, it always goes back to remembering, you know, remember the days of old, you know, Moses, you know, when he got the laws, you know, when he gave it to us, you know what I'm saying, the Israelites, which are you blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, you know, you got to remember that, man. You have to remember when the Lord dealt with us, you know, and we have to remember when we didn't do what was pleasing to the Lord, what did the Lord do? What was his reaction? You know what I mean? Let me get Joshua 1:8. It says, this book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. Right? You know, for then thou shalt make thy ways prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. But it's, yeah, so you know, we gotta meditate on this. You know, this is our main thing. You know, whenever you got free time, you know, you should be, either getting into the scriptures, just doing more spiritual things, right? You know, paying attention, even when you're watching the news, you know, you paying attention to know, like, all right, this is prophecy right here. You know, this is what the scripture said was going to happen. You connecting the dots. Always your mind is on that. And if you're not doing that, you know, you having, you know, holy conversation, brotherly love, things like that. But ultimately, everything is spiritual, man. You know, so you're meditating on the law. All right, did I go off here? How could I do this better? What does the Lord say? You know, when you're dealing with certain things, you have certain issues, you always doubling back on the scriptures, man. Let me get back in that. So let me read it again. It says, Book of Sirach 39:1. It says, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient. Right? You know, and then when we go into like, you know, you go into like, what is it? Like King Solomon, right? again, I keep bringing him up because, you know, they got so many books. That's one of my favorite books as well, Wisdom of Solomon and in Ecclesiastes, you know. But you learn a lot, man. You learn a lot. And I feel like, you know, specifically King Solomon, right? And all of the prophets from before, but specifically for me, King Solomon is because, all right, in this day and age, right, what is Jake's main goal, right? Is to get rich, right? That's kind of Jake's in the world main goal, is to get rich, is to get this paper, get this bag, so to speak, right? And or to be renowned, right? Be a renowned man, right? Fame, whatever the case may be. King Solomon had all of that, man. King Solomon had all of that. You know, he had the riches beyond everything because he asked for wisdom. The Lord gave him everything else. Because in order for him to get the wisdom, he had to experience those things. But he had everything that Jake wants, man, or yearning for, so to speak. You know, so when you read, like in Ecclesiastes chapter 2, when he says, man, all is vanity, that it kind of breaks it down to you. Listen, this is from a dude that got everything that you so-called think you want, and he's telling you the shit is about nothing, you know. But yeah, so you'll go into that, man. You'll start going into the those wise men of old, man, you know. And then you'll ultimately what? You'll start getting into the prophecies. All right, the MOTB is this, which we know is the RFID chip. You know, what is going to be the outcome of this place, man? Spiritual Babylon, which is America. What's going to happen to this place? You jump into Isaiah 34, you know what I'm saying? Isaiah 13, things of that nature, right? You know, Revelations, you know, you just get into prophecies, man, and you start putting things together, you know. So that's what your mind will be on, man. Your mind will be, in a sense, consumed with just spiritual things, man. Now, you know, the scriptures say don't be overly righteous, but ultimately, that don't mean that you're trying not to damn well have, you know, you ain't trying to be, I mean, I don't know how to explain it. Like, you ain't trying to, like, not mix your fabrics and you watching everything to a T, and, you know what I'm saying? If that's your spirit, that's your spirit. But ultimately, nah, your mind is just basically is more on spiritual, only on spiritual things, man. You connecting everything spiritual. When you're dealing with your brothers, you know, you're dealing in the spirit, man. You know, whether it be going into the scriptures, whether it just be applying the wisdom from the scriptures in your everyday life. You know, speaking, when you see things on the news, you're bringing out what's happening, you know what I'm saying, brother? Because not even people that don't know, they may see, like, all right, the MOTB, you know, they got the cashless society coming out, the central bank digital currency, right? That's money, in a sense. That is money, currency. But, you know, Jake is so freaking engulfed in money that now you might have a somebody in the world that you actually got love for, and they only going into the money, right? So now, how you hook them? How you hook them? You bring the scriptures into that, man. Even when you're having conversations, well, you know, but now you don't just throw that, you don't put that out to anybody, you know, because, you know, it say cast not your pearls among swine, right? But, you know, through the spirit, if you're dealing with them, you know, you tell them the truth. Like, yo, look, man, you know, they speaking about such and such, you know, they trying to give you them implants, right? You know that, you know what I mean? You kind of like get into it that way, you know, subtle, you know? So that's what your mind will be on, man. And I'm gonna get one more scripture. And then I'm gonna close it out. I'm about to be at camp. This is Romans chapter 15 and verse 4. It says, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, and for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. Right. So right, so they were written for our learning. You know, all of the things, you know, all the things the prophets went through, all the things the Lord did to us, you know, all of the hardships, and even when the Lord was dealing with us and when he wasn't dealing with us, you know, those were written for our learning. What happened when Jake followed the Lord's statutes and commandments? What happened when they didn't? You know, the outcomes of those things. Those are for our learning. To what? To ultimately keep us keep us in tight knit, man. To understand what's going to lead to us being prosperous and succeed, and what's going to lead to our downfall and ultimately destruction. You know, and that will be what? Following these laws, statutes, and commandments. because they were written for us, Israel, blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, and ultimately what? And coming out of this world, man. That's it, because this world is going to tell you the total opposite. It's going to tell you that, you know, yo, bro, listen, man, you know, I keep reiterating, you know, the Lord died for everybody. You know, then, you know, some Jake, they are like big on this atheism, you know what I'm saying? They going into like atheism heavy, you know, they ain't believing in no God. You know, the scripture say, you know, a man that says there's no God is a fool, you know, paraphrasing it, right? But yeah, that's our people, man. You know, they going into every single thing, you know, idolatry, you know, believing in themselves, thinking that they are the most high. You know what I'm saying? As weird as that sounds, and as idiotic as that sounds. But you know, Jake is going into all other things, but we got to understand that these scriptures are written for our learning. So when we read about men that did those things, we see the outcome of that, man, and we avoid it. You know, we avoid those stumbling blocks. So, you know, that was it. I'm about to be next to camp soon, but, you know, I want to say, Call Haloyim La, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Till next time, Shalom.